never imagined that something as ordinary as a lunchbox could destroy the world I thought I knew. Yes, a lunchbox. It sounds absurd, doesn't it? Something so small, so harmless. And yet, that single object carried the weight of secrets so heavy. They shattered my heart in ways I never thought possible. It all began one morning, when my daughter-in-law accidentally left behind my son's lunchbox at my house. Out of simple curiosity, I opened it. What I discovered inside was not food, not a sandwich, not fruit, not anything a mother would expect to find. Instead, it was betrayal. A letter, a piece of jewelry, and a photograph that changed everything. This is not just a story about a mother and her son. It is about trust, about the illusions we build around those we love, and about the devastating cost of secrets. My name is Farah. I am 58 years old, and until that moment with the lunchbox, I thought I had lived a relatively ordinary life. I grew up in a modest family, married young to my husband Rahim, and together we built a quiet life. He was the kind of man who believed in responsibility, in family, in loyalty. When he passed away 10 years ago, my heart felt as though it had been ripped from my chest. But I survived. I survived because I had 2 sons. And my eldest son, Saad, became my anchor. He was my pride, my strength, the reason I kept smiling. From the moment he was born, he was different, mature beyond his years, always protective of me, always determined to achieve. He excelled in school, brought home medals and certificates, and each time he did, I would proudly show them to neighbors and friends. This is my Saad, I would say, the son every mother dreams of. When Saad grew older and began working, I thought my life was finally stable. Then came Aisha, the young woman he married. She was sweet, soft-spoken, and from the first day, I accepted her as my own daughter. I often told people, I didn't lose a son in his marriage. I gained a daughter. I truly believed it. That Tuesday morning began like any other. Aisha had asked me to watch the children for a few hours while she ran errands. She arrived in a rush, juggling bags and trying to manage the kids at the same time. Ammi, I'll just be a few hours, she said, barely catching her breath. Go Beta, don't worry. I'll take care of them, I reassured her. In her flurry of movement, she accidentally left a bag on my dining table. I called out after her. Aisha, you forgot this. But she was already halfway out the door, her car pulling away. I glanced at the bag and assumed it was for the children, snacks perhaps. But when I opened it, I froze. Inside was a lunchbox neatly closed. I smiled to myself at first. Maybe she had packed something for the kids, or even for Saad. I opened it casually, and then my heart stopped. Inside the lunchbox was no food. Instead, there was a neatly folded letter. My fingers trembled as I opened it, and the moment my eyes caught the handwriting, my stomach churned. It was Saad's handwriting. At first, a part of me felt warm. Perhaps he had written something sweet for Aisha? A love note? But as I began to read, my heart turned cold. My love, I can't go another day without you. Every moment with her feels suffocating. You are my escape, my true life. Please be patient just a little longer. Soon I'll leave Aisha, and then we can finally live openly without secrets. I dropped the letter as though it had burned my hands. My chest tightened, my breathing grew shallow. This was not meant for Aisha. This was not meant for his wife. This was meant for someone else. With shaking hands, I picked up the small velvet pouch. I pulled the string and looked inside. Out slid a delicate gold bracelet. My vision blurred as I read the engraving. Forever yours, Saad and Sarah. Sarah. The name struck me like lightning. I had heard it once before, in passing years ago. Aisha had mentioned it casually, that Saad had an old friend from college named Sarah. I never thought much of it. Just a friend, I had assumed. But now that name felt like poison. Finally, my trembling fingers lifted the photograph from the lunchbox. My breath caught in my throat. It was Saad, my son, my pride, my anchor. And he was standing beside a woman who was not his wife. She leaned against him, her arm wrapped around his shoulders, both of them smiling like two people deeply in love. Behind them was the name of a hotel. Not a casual place, an expensive one. My knees nearly gave out. I clutched the table for support. I cannot put into words the pain I felt in that moment. It was as if the world I had built around my son crumbled to dust. I remembered his childhood, his innocent promises. I remembered him holding my hand at his father's funeral, whispering, "Amy, I'll take care of you. I'll never let you cry." And yet here I was, my cheeks wet with tears, my hands trembling as I stared at evidence of betrayal. Betrayal not just to his wife, but to the family, to everything we stood for. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. Should I confront him? Should I tell Aisha? Or should I bury this secret deep inside, protecting my son even if it meant lying to myself? 3 days later, when Saad came to pick up the children from my house, I gathered my courage. "Beta," I said softly. "I found something in the lunchbox Aisha left behind." His expression shifted instantly, confusion, then realization, then anger. "What lunchbox?" he snapped. I held his gaze. "The one she forgot here." "Saad, there was a letter. A bracelet. A photograph. How could you do this to her? To your children?" His jaw tightened. "Amy, you don't understand." "Then help me understand," I pleaded. "Tell me this isn't what it looks like. Tell me you're not betraying her." Instead of answers, he gave me silence. Then, with coldness I had never heard from him before, he said, "This is my marriage. My life. Stay out of it." My heart broke all over again. A week later, Aisha visited me. She looked pale, her eyes swollen as though she had been crying for days. After the children ran off to play, she sat across from me at the table, clutching her cup of tea like it was the only thing holding her together. "Amy," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Do you know where Saad goes after work?" My throat went dry. "I found messages," she continued, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I confronted him, and he said it was nothing, just stress, just a mistake. But Amy, it's been going on for years." I reached across the table, holding her hands in mine, my own tears falling. "Beta, I know. I saw the proof." Her sobs grew louder. I stayed quiet for the children. I didn't want them to lose their father. But I can't live like this anymore. I love him, Amy. But love shouldn't hurt this much. Her words pierced my soul. Every night after that conversation, I was torn apart. I could hear my late husband's voice in my head. "Farah, protect this family. Do not let it break." But how could I protect something that was already broken? If Aisha left, the children would suffer. If she stayed, she would suffer. And if Saad continued his affair, we would all suffer. I prayed, I cried, I begged God for guidance. But the silence of the night gave me no answers. One evening, unable to bear it anymore, I decided to see the truth with my own eyes. I went to Saad's house unannounced. His car was outside, lights glowing from within. My heart pounded as I knocked on the door. Aisha opened it. Her face was pale, her eyes red from crying. Inside on the sofa, sat Saad, with his head in his hands. And beside him sat Sarah, the woman from the photograph. The air grew heavy as our eyes met. Before I could speak, Sarah stood up and said, "Auntie, please try to understand. Saad and I have loved each other for years. He only married Aisha because of family pressure. He was never truly hers." Her words cut deeper than knives. And Saad, my son, my pride, my everything, did not deny it. He just sat there in silence. In that silence, my world collapsed. The days that followed were filled with tears and heartbreak. Aisha eventually made the hardest decision of her life. She left. She took the children and moved away, determined to protect them from growing up in a house built on lies. Saad married Sarah soon after. But I could see it in his eyes. He was never truly happy. The guilt lingered, clinging to him like a shadow. And me? I made my choice. I chose to stand with Aisha and the children. Because sometimes, love means protecting the innocent, even if it means losing the ones you gave birth to. So if you are hearing my story today, let me tell you this. Never ignore the small signs. Never think betrayal can remain hidden forever. And never forget. Sometimes the people you love the most can be the ones who break you the deepest. But you must rise again. You must choose strength. Because true strength is not about holding on to something broken. It is about knowing when to let go.